Okay, hi everyone. A little bit early, so I'll just wait for you to hop on board. For anyone who's listening to the recording, please, if there's any quiet time after this initial hello, good evening, then please don't click off. Continue to listen, or maybe fast forward a minute if you're listening to any recording. Okay, so we've got some people coming on. It's a pretty heavy webinar tonight, and what I mean by that is we've got a lot of people on here tonight, so we will be going through some live figures as well. Last time we did this, the screen was a little bit small, so I've increased the size of the actual spreadsheet I can show you, so that should help out a lot. It is one of the, if not the most, probably in the top 3 most important things to get right are the numbers when you start service accommodation. And it's the same for rent to rent as well. If you're doing rent to rent, it comes down to numbers, explicitly down to numbers initially. Anything after that is fairly sort of simplistic, even down to the systems of running the properties. It's just a matter of copying the same system for every single property that you get. So we won't get into that right yet. Okay, so let's wait. We've got about another minute before we start. We've got a few people on already. So hi everyone. If you've got any questions, you can post them into the questions or into the chat box. The chat is private. It's with you and me. And we will be doing a poll at the end as well that I'd like to get some feedback from you, if you like, around webinar times and that type of thing. So we want to know that you don't just turn up to a webinar at 7:30 at night because you have to. So we put it in there. There could be somebody who wants to watch it during lunch or listen to it during lunch, in which case it may be good for you to watch replay. The reason I'm saying this, because we do have systems now that we have with our software that you can basically click to watch within the next 2 minutes. So if this video or webinar that you're watching tonight and listening to, and you want to watch it, there is a recording afterwards as well. It will be sent to you automatically in the morning, so you can watch that. But we're also doing what we call evergreen webinars, so that you can watch these any time of day that you want. So if you work night shift, you can watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no issue with that. Okay, yes, please put some questions in. We've got some questions coming in already, so we'll answer those as we go. But it's now 7:30 and 30 seconds, I guess, from my clock. So we'll wait one more minute. I'm mixing my words up here. 1 more minute, because I can see there are a few people waiting to join. So we'll just wait for them to come in, and then we'll get cracking. Okay, so there's a few more coming now. Excellent. Okay, good. All right, guys. So for those who arrived early, we will get started, and we'll start off with some intros and that type of thing. Okay, so we've got some questions there. Good, they're all relative, all great questions. Let's get cracking. So I'm going to share my screen. If you can please just click in the box when you see it. You won't see it yet, but if you can just tell me that you can see a Wealth and Success Academy logo. And that'd be great if you can tell me that, guys. Slide 1. Don't worry, it's not death by PowerPoint. You're going to get lots of information tonight. You're going to get lots of free training. We do give away. I've been told I give away too much on my webinars, but hey, that's me. I want you to learn. I don't want you to just sit there and think this is another waste of my time. Okay, thanks, guys. Good. Let's get cracking then. So, quick introduction. Wealth and Success Academy. Most of you have probably seen this now. For those that haven't, it's of a company by myself and Emmanuel Ezekiel. Emmanuel's not on here tonight. He's out doing some developments in London. So we kind of bring different things to the table, if you like. And we run this course, a service accommodation. We run webinars. We do free training. We do rent to rent, which is a nice hybrid for service accommodation for those that don't own properties. Obviously, with service accommodation or rent to rent, you can adapt the same strategy to your own properties. So if you own your own properties, you can adapt these strategies to them. You just don't need to go out and find the properties unless you do it differently by buying them and that type of thing. But we have a lot of people who come to us with 30, 40 properties, and they want to increase their actual income because their income is pitiful. Let's say £200 or £300 a month profit before anything goes wrong. So sometimes a boiler can go and they get hit pretty hard. So Wealth and Success Academy, yeah, and we've just started up another course that we're starting on Friday as well, which is kind of like an advanced mastermind day, and it's for people. So what we want to do is we want to take people from having nothing in property and building up cash flow and the experience. And I'll talk about some of our students as we go along and their success stories and my success story as well. And then we want to take you from there to get you into doing flips and JVs and setting up proper joint ventures, not just little heads of terms. So we show you how to set that up, how to approach people and that type of thing if you're looking to get deals funded as well. Once you get into that, so we kind of take you from basic to intermediate to advanced to, hey, you are then in the wealth criteria, if you like, and successful. Success doesn't necessarily mean that you got to go out and make a ton of money. Success just may be that, hey, you're making $5,000 a month, and that may be content for you, and it means that you can go out and you can help others and do things. And I've got a friend who's just he's in his 16th week in hospital, and he had a very severe accident on his motorbike. Somebody T-barred him and he came off, and obviously he's got T4, T5, well, if you know what that means, on the spine. So he's only got feeling really from his sort of, he calls it from his nipple up. So we kind of have a joke that if I can still twist his nipples, it hurts. But hey, it's not funny, but we're best of mates. And he inspired me the other day, because he said to me, he said, look, I feel like I'm reborn. I've got all these brand new first things happening in my life. So success to him is completely different. It's not about making money. It's about, and we were trying to inspire him, but he's inspiring us now. It's a total turnaround, and I'm off to see him tomorrow morning, another surprise visit, and going to get him in the gym, and he's doing lots of rehab now. He's had all his internal medals built so that he can sit upright in a wheelchair. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's got any experience from that, but success, we're not just about making money here. We're about making you wealthy and success even in your mind and spirit as well. So we do a lot of breakthrough sessions with individuals as well, and some of those have come back to us and said that, hey guys, that 2-hour session, you've changed their lives. So this is a small part of what we do, but it could be a massive thing for you. So who am I? Ashley Burnfield. Yes, I've got an Australian accent. I've been in England since 2003, so just over 13 years. It was August 1st that I got here in 2003. 2 years of being here. I came for a year. Within 2 years of being here, I met a lady. We're now married, and we have 2 lovely children. So we're fairly sort of feet on the ground here, if you like. And I started property in 2006, started with zero, was told to go away, get lost. I went to lots of courses, lots of seminars, find out lots of information from people, some crap, some good, some in between, some that didn't work at all, some people just on the bandwagon, and ended up finding the right information, and then went on to buy several properties with no money down, if anybody remembers those days, before the crash. So I started rent to rent in 2013 simply because the properties that I had didn't support the income that I needed. So I went out and discovered rent to rent. I didn't do a course. I got a bit of information from different people. I got hit pretty hard out there, to be honest, by agents, because I was saying all the wrong things, until I met one agent who kind of put his nose about half an inch away from my nose, spitting and screaming at me. and we kind of been friends ever since. And he's taught me most of what I know about rent to rent, the legalities, the landlord side of it, the letting agent side of it, their tricks, their cons, and all that type of thing. So we pass this on. So I've got various properties now, rent to rent, and some that I'm joint venturing with also, and also service accommodation. So all my service accommodation and rent to rent properties, HMOs, are all rent to rent. And I have specific areas that I have. So where my rent to rents are, I now do not. I did trial some service accommodations there, but they didn't give me enough profit. They only give me like £500-600 a month on average. And you'll see as we go through how those numbers work and what I'm talking about here. So I've moved to another area, and I'm JVing and partnering with, well, not joint venturing, but kind of partnering with somebody who's feet on the ground in that area. And we're doing quite well in that area, and it's amazing the numbers that we're getting. So that's awesome. I've got many students now that I've taught over the last sort of 18 months who have now quit their day job. And you might think, wow, so what big deal? Well, some of these people quit their day job within 3 to 4 months. Some people have quit their day job after Napa was in 2 weeks, and I'll tell you his story a bit later. He was forced to quit his day job. So yeah. So I've got various properties of all sort of shapes and sizes and all types. So control most of the properties that I have now simply with lease options or purchase options, or by way of delayed completions, etc. through rent to rent as well. And that's me. I'm a Wealth and Success Academy guy, and my business partner is Emmanuel Ezekiel. If you haven't heard of him, check our website, www.wealthandandsuccessacademy.com, if you're interested. So let's crack on. So one of the key sort of points that I get asked quite a lot is, Ash, I want to create some passive income, or some people call it, I want to create some residual income. But I don't know where to start, and I don't know how, and I don't know what the frickin' hell I'm going to do. So I say, okay, there's various ways you can do it. You can go out and you can try to do multi-level marketing and sell Amway or whatever it is, or you can go out and you can try and be a super internet marketing guru. You can go and do stuff like Amazon and spend lots of time at night talking to the Chinese and trying to get the product. And yes, it works, but it's not passive. In other words, you still have to do work for it. And to be fair, rent to rent and service accommodation is also not passive or residual. When I say it's not passive or residual, what I'm being quite brutal about here is that you are still going to have to do some work. So when you start, you go out and you get the properties and you sort them out. What we do to reduce the amount of workload is we put systems in place. So I use a lot of internet, I use a lot of apps, I use a lot of apps that use like Excel, and I use CRMs, and they all integrate to each other, they all talk to each other, and then there's channel managers and that type of thing. So there is going to be some work, and most of the work is actually inputting it and starting it from the start. So when I say residual income, you're going to have to do some work to set it up, and then you're just going to have to coast along and just make sure it's okay here and there. There will be some issues that come up, and there'll be small things, there might be some big things. These are the things you got to take care of. So this is what I mean by residual income. It's kind of, you can be asleep at night with service accommodation. You wake up in the morning and you got 2 or 3 bookings. If you've got more than 10, 12, 15 properties, you could have 20, 30 bookings overnight. It's amazing, depending on the time of the year. October, so you know, is known as the slowest month in service accommodation, kind of in between. Nothing's really going on until the end of it, and then people start getting ready in November, start organizing Christmas shopping, going into towns, Christmas markets, this type of thing, coming over, see family. That's when things start to kick off again. So the good thing is that when you start, you guys here, is you'll be closer to November, so you'll have that that month out of the way, if you like. So I hope that explains a bit about passive income, residual income. Yes, you are going to have to do work. It's not you just sits there and just keeps working for you, but you will make a lot of money. An important thing that you need to remember is we need to create more than we consume. So what I mean by that is most people that come to me and say, I want to be financially free. I say, okay, so what's financially free? They say it's around about £3,500 a month is what I need. And this is net, this is after tax, etc. And that will take care of their mortgage, their rent, whatever it is. If they own, if they rent, it will take care of any car payments. It will take care of fuel for the week, kids' clothes, if they've got kids, or going out money, or, taking care of utility bills, whatever it might be. So it's around about £3,000 to £3,500 on average. Now that's, if you can ring fence that, so you need to create enough money to be able to cover what you've consumed there. So if it's 3.5, you want to be looking at 4.5, so that then you've got that moments for any unexpected things, or it's what we call, rainy day money, you may call it. And there will be people on here that are happy making that £5,000, £4,000, and then they kind of sit back and they go, okay, that's cool, I'm taken care of. And then there's other people who come to me and they say, I need 8, 9, 10 grand. And then there's a smaller pocket of people that say, I need 15, 20 grand a month. That's what I need. So they are really creating more than they consume, because their consumption on money may be £7,000, £8,000 a month, but they want 20 grand because they want to build up income that they can go and spend on holidays and this type of thing, or invest in property. To the people that want the 15 or 20 grand, they want to start investing that money back into property as well. And we'll talk about some of those stories coming out. So at the end of this webinar, you will be offered some expert training and secret tips for finding deals quickly, and that will be £5,500, circa £5,500. That's before any discounts or any special offers. So service accommodation, how does it work? The key properties that I look for, and that the people in our group look for, are 1 to 3 bed properties, but you can still work with larger properties and rent them out, or let them out to guests, if you like, by the room. Now you'll see why I like to work with 1 to 3 bedroom properties, especially if you knew my area, and I'm not going to divulge my area right now. You will kind of understand why that is a key focus for me, and why I think it's probably best for a key focus for you, especially when you're starting out, and you will understand that as we go along, and I'll tell you exactly why. We'll work in Article 4 areas. So we have people that we work with in rent to rent who work in Article 4 areas. Now, if it's a high student area, rent to rent's fine. It's going to be great. So we can work in those, because we take over a lot of ex-student lets, and I've got students down in Claire and Rob down in an area in the south where there's lots of students, and they've now got their 7th deal within the last 7 or 8 months, I think it is. So they're quite happy. They've got another 3 deals to go to hit to their magic 10 grand a month. With service accommodation, yes, it can work in Article 4 areas, because the planning is very different, and we'll cover that as we go along with the planning. So we take control of properties, and there's no need to own them. And most people starting out in service accommodation, or even rent to rent, or service accommodation using a rent to rent strategy, don't have enough money to be able to go and buy properties, or they don't have enough money to put down deposits, they don't have enough money, or they don't have the experience to find a joint venture partners to work with, and they just don't have knowledge to be able to do that. That is one thing that we're teaching people in the new mastermind class. So we sign agreements for 3 to 5 years. Why 3? Why 5? Well, if you go through agents and you look to find these deals, then they're only ever going to give you a maximum of 3 years, because they don't want to sign any deeds. If you go direct with a landlord, then you can look at a 5-year deal. And this is simply because our management agreement can be executed as a deed as well. We also use service accommodation to fill voids in our HMOs and any single lets. So I've got some single lets that I've got, and I've turned a few of them now into rent-to-rents, and I've turned a couple into service accommodations. And any voids that you may have in those multi-lets, we can use service accommodation. So how do we do that? So we'll just put the room on Airbnb, and we'll get 40 to 50% more profit than what we would have normally for that room being full as a multi-let in an HMO. But as you know, I choose not to myself. I choose not to actually use HMOs for service accommodation. So it can be automated alongside your rent-to-rent business, your property business, or any other strategy you're doing. Good thing about service accommodation is that you don't actually have to be there for meet and greet. Is it better to do meet and greet? Well, the jury's out. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends. Sometimes you'll turn up and you'll have a family there, and they got 2 young kids, and the 2 young kids are playing up because they're running late. They haven't got there till 7 o'clock at night. The kids are tired, and you do a meet and greet, and quite frankly, they just want you out of their face. So we've had a few experiences like that. We've had experiences where we've turned up and there's honeymooning couples, and again, they just want us out of their way as quickly as possible. And some of the feedback we've had from them, they've said, look, we prefer not to have a meet and greet. So jury's out. If it's in an elite luxury property, I would offer it a meet and greet service, and also offer in some occasions in London we've offered limousine pickup and that type of thing, and all we've done is we've used people like Uber, and you can get deluxe and you can get a nice big Mercedes to pick them up, and they foot the bill and we just take care of it. And believe it or not, even people with Uber, they don't want to click on their phone, or they haven't actually used Uber before. So we'll foot the bill and we'll pay. We'll get them to pay. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do. We'll find deals via agents all over the UK. And when I mean all over the UK, we've got them up in Newcastle, down to Southampton, across into areas like Ipswich, and also various areas around London. Now, obviously, there's different planning. There's a 90-day rule in London. But again, you'll understand when I look at the 1 to 3 bed properties, etc., there is a way around that. And that is all completely accepted by the local councils as well. And we're getting more and more councils on board. And how are we doing that? Well, we've got some guys out there who are doing this in London, and they are literally volunteering to go out and speak to as many councils as they can. And they're coming back and with in writing from the council, and it's like, thumbs up, we've got another council, thumbs up, we've got another one. So we've got quite a few on board now in London. So number 8 there, we'll use a channel manager for automation. So when I said about trying to automate stuff and use apps and use software, channel managers are good for automation once you sort of become a bit more advanced. Some people choose to take it from the outset. I really don't think you need to. For your first 2 properties, you definitely don't need it anyway, because there's a way that you can use Booking.com and Airbnb, and they're the 2 biggest ones, unless you're going to start sort of focusing on, US guys and that type of thing. So if you're going to be within, 2 miles of the city centre, the square mile or whatever it is of London, or the heart of London, then you're going to be attracting a lot of American tourists as well. So their biggest channel, their biggest website for like the equivalent of Booking.com is called HomeAway.com. So once you start using the channel managers, you can start targeting all of those, like Expedia and TripAdvisor and all of them, Hotels.com, etc. So they're all slightly different. And what channel manager does is it automates all your bookings to stop you getting double bookings as well. And double bookings are just something that you just don't ever want, because it's going to cost you money. So simple steps to setting up, and they are very simple. Number 1, you've got to choose and research your area. You've got to see what property type works and check out the potential profits. And this is mostly down to numbers. It's obviously you're looking, so it could be an area where there's like Windsor, for example. There's Windsor Castle. There's a Great Walk. There's all other different. There's Legoland around there. There's loads of stuff for. And if you've got kids and you've ever stayed at the Lego Hotel, it's very freaking expensive, and it's mostly people who want to stay there with kids, so they're going to have to 1-2 rooms. So you've got something within a sort of a half mile or a mile of Legoland. Service accommodation, it can sleep up to 6-8 people, then you're onto a winner. And the same can go for somewhere around Buckingham Palace. It can go for anywhere in the London area, as long as you've got the right council. So Westminster and Kensington, pretty tough actually at the moment to be able to get a C1 classification, but you will definitely need planning in those areas, in those 2 that I mentioned. And then we acquire the property. You can purchase it or you control it via the rent-to-rent strategy. Purchasing the property, obviously you're going to need money, or you're going to need a joint venture to be able to do that. But before you do that, number one has to be absolutely specific and particular and like bang on. And I'll show you how to do the numbers. You need to set up the staff as well once you've got the property, because you're going to need a cleaner, you're going to need a maintenance guy, which is normally just a handyman locally. Most of our guys are sort of 60 plus, and they're prepared to do it for nothing, but we pay them. They just want something to do. And it's very important to have those times too, because cleaners get sick, maintenance guy gets sick, they might sprain their ankle, they might go on holiday. So you need a backup as well, and they need to be fully trained on what to do, because our cleaners don't just clean. We'll have specifics, like we'll have photos of the properties taken. So every time they come in, they look at the photo, and it's like, okay, we have to put everything back exactly where it was according to the photo. So that's just another way that we manage our properties and make sure they're all kept up to scratch in showroom condition. And then there may be some properties out there that need a refurb or a refresh. So you don't have to refurbish your property all the time, especially if you're gonna be controlling a property and not owning it. You just want to refresh it and make it look, like it's showroom condition. So it might need a repaint, may need some new carpets and that type of thing. Now, in most cases, we actually get the landlord to fund these if we're doing it via rent to rent. If it's your own property, you're going to have to fund it yourself, obviously. So if you're looking to purchase a property, you also need to have some money aside to be able to carry out any refurb or refresh to get it up to a standard. And then we'll dress the property and furnish the property to a standard applied. Now, what I mean by that is there's various different standards. So you could have like blue collar, where you'll get construction workers and that type of thing. I don't know if anyone's seen the latest commercial for, I think it's Premier Inn. They have the scaffolding guys, and I think they're playing Top Gun music or something like that. It's quite cute. And then they walk out. So I don't know why Premier Inns have done that, because to me it's kind of like they are segregating themselves from a different marketplace, because I know that a lot of sales guys stay in those things, traveling sales guys and mobile workers. So anyway, so my point is that, you can have the basic stuff, the blue collars, where you're not going to have any double beds in your properties. You're going to have all single beds. They may be able to be zipped together if it's, if you end up getting a booking for a couple or a large family, depending on the area and where it is. So there's lots of construction going on in places like Birmingham at the moment and Manchester, where a lot of these people want to stay they'll stay, all through the week, go home on a weekend, but they may need that for 3 to 4 months, may need it for up to a year. And it's a place where they can leave their tools and lock up and safe and secure. And then you get to the middle market, where you might get your mobile workers, like you get your Microsoft guys who are traveling all the time, because they obviously promote working from home, but then they need to go to meetings that may be 2 or 3 days that they're away, so they need somewhere to stay. So then there's that middle bit, and they're kind of the 1-2 bedroom properties, those guys. That's the key focus there. And then you get to families and holiday lets, and then you get to luxury, where it could be, like I said, you can arrange pickups here. You might even arrange, have somebody who arranges tickets to the theatre or something like that. All this is done up front. And you have to dress the property to those standards. So you're not going to put, some nice artwork and beautiful furniture in somewhere where there's going to be blue collar guys who just come back and say, right, that's it, I want to crack a beer, watch some TV, and that's it, I'm tired out type of thing. They may have their boots on when they walk in the house. So yeah, just dress it to the standard and get professional photos taken as well. Because if you're going to put this out onto the big World Wide Web, and it will be worldwide, especially if you start getting serious about this and hit channel managers, it will be advertised globally in as many countries as you can think of via Booking.com, Airbnb, and HomeAway, all of those sort of sites. There's like 30 or 32 different channels that you can advertise on. And obviously register the property on Booking.com and Airbnb and other portals if that's what you want to do. The first one that you'll be able to do it on is Airbnb. Booking.com can take a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer, because they actually manually register it, whereas Airbnb, it can be up and done in 10 minutes. Just a little tip on Airbnb, do not enable instant booking straight away. Just a little tip. And then we take bookings, and you want to build a database for future bookings, which can be commission free, because your commissions can be anywhere between 12 and 15% that the actual booking company like Booking.com or Airbnb will charge you. So we want to build a database, especially if it's like workers or mobile workers or people, you know, some people, if they've got a property in Cornwall, they will choose that same property every year because they like it, and they'll only change if something goes wrong. So, you know, we build these databases, and we just put it in a CRM, and you can get like free CRMs like lessannoyingcrm.com, I think it's called, and there's a few others out there. And then when you get to a certain amount of contacts, it goes up to like $7 a month or $10 a month. But once you get to that level, then it's paying for itself anyway. So good. Permissions, bit of planning. So what do we need? So when we're talking to councils, you want to be talking about holiday lets. If you start talking to councils about service accommodation, most of them will actually say, what's that? And if you say, oh, we're looking at holiday lets, then they kind of get you. And that those who don't, especially the younger people, you say, oh, we're going to put it on Airbnb. And they go, yeah, I know what you want to do. Because obviously the government gave us £1,000 tax free to be able to use Airbnb for our properties in the last budget. So that's how everyone's got to know about Airbnb. So we're looking at planning C1. Do we need an application, or do we just need permission? You will need permission from leaseholders, etc. So when you look at planning, when I say application or permission, it's getting more to the 1 and 3 bed properties, and then to the HMOs. So we can get away in probably 90% of the areas and 90% of cases, not all of them, if we rent out, or should we let out our property as a holiday let as an entire property, then it will be operating still as a C3, which is a family home. If you start to rent it out by the room via Airbnb, etc., then it will need a C1 permission. So you'll need to get C1 application, the whole lot. So you can see the difference there. In some buildings, in fact, most buildings, where you have lots of apartments, there will be somebody who owns the freehold, and then there will be somebody who is the leaseholder. Now, the leaseholder, if you don't get them to read their lease agreement and see if it says that they cannot sublet, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if there's nothing in there, because it has to be written in there. It doesn't have to say it's okay to sublet. You just need to make sure it doesn't have in there that they cannot sublet to short or long term. So in other words, the only people that they can have in there is the people who live there, or they can rent it out to a family, if you like, but not short-term holiday lets. So you need to get them to check that. Very rarely can it be changed. So you need to make sure this will save you a ton of work, and it will save you a ton of money and wasting time. So get that checked. It's very important. If you're looking at 2 and 3 bed houses, then in most cases they'll all have freehold. We have contacts with people who actually develop and build 140, 150 unit apartment blocks, And if you can get in with people like this who own a freehold, before it's actually sold, they will actually allocate a certain amount of apartments to you that are actually don't have the subletting in there, and they'll allow that for 5 years, no more, but they'll allow up to 5 years. I can't tell you any more about that here right now because it's just a plethora of information. If you're looking at places like Brighton, Bournemouth and that type of thing, you will need to inform the tourist board as well. They need to know what's going on and how many properties are available. Now, just one point, if you get C1 planning in those areas, it's virtually impossible in many cases to actually get it reversed back to a C3, which again is why we like the C1, C3 property, bed 1 to 2 and 3 bed properties, because we can still use it as a C3, but get permission to use it as a C1. So in that way, if you're doing rent to rent, you don't need to get it reversed, and you don't need to like have a red face and get a bad name for yourself because they can't get it reversed to a C3. They have to use it consistently as a service accommodation or B&B or something like that. So here's a simple explanation for service accommodation and permissions. Simple. And it's as simple as I could make it and as short as I could make it. C1 planning, which is the same as a bed and breakfast or service accommodation holiday let, planning is needed regardless of dwelling type if the property is rented out by individual rooms, like a hotel per night, or C3 if rented as an entire home apartment per night, much like a buy-to-let property. So I hope that there explains why we prefer not to go for the multi-room properties and letting out by the room. It's much easier to get properties. If you're doing it with rent to rent, it's much easier to get properties as well. There's less hassle, there's less work for you. And remember, I said at the start, we're looking for passive residual income. We want to reduce the workload as much as possible. So we do as little as possible for the maximum income. And I know that you guys are on here because you want maximum income and you want to get maximum income for the smallest amount of input. So we need to create more than we can consume. And the way we're going to do this is through systems, and they're very simple systems. Don't worry. I know when I first had people start talking about systems, and I'm not a systems guy, and I'm like, oh shit, systems, that sounds so boring. I'm happy going out, you know, doing the deals, getting the deals and taking the money in. But man, when it comes to systems, but a system can be, you know, some people spend a day explaining a system to you, but it could be as simple as just clicking a couple of buttons on your computer, done, or getting someone else to do it. It's not hard. Trust me, it's not hard. You don't need a week to learn how to run a bloody serviced accommodation. You don't need a week to learn how to set up a rent-to-rent property. You just need to follow the small systems that you put in place, and it's quite simple. And I know this because I've done it like that, and my students have done it like that, and many of them are very, very successful by doing and copying exactly what I've done. And I didn't take 3, 4, 5 days to teach them. I did this all in one day. Some of them, yes, I go on to mentor, but I'm just there as an oh shit moment. So, oh shit, the landlord said this, the agent said this, and you know, I'm purchasing a property that's done this. What do I do? Bang. And it's answered within a few minutes. So cash flow from property without owning it. This is key for us, I guess. The strategy for cash flow from property without owning it is simply called rent to rent. We are taking a property from a landlord and we are renting it from him. We are then renting it out as a holiday let or as an HMO with their permission, obviously. So we rent a property and then rent it again to others, making a profit on the difference. We do this with larger properties or with smaller properties, varying the strategy slightly to suit. So we've sweated a lot of the small stuff so that you don't need to. Remember at the start I said that, you know, I've had some heartaches and had some issues, and I've had people threatening me and they're chucking me out. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. Everybody knows about, not everyone knows about service accommodation or holiday lets within letting agent, which is great because this is an awesome time to start. But they all know about company lets. They all know about rent to rent. It's amazing. When I say all, probably 90% know about it. Whereas holiday lets and what we're talking about here, you talk to agents, probably 10% get it at the moment, maximum of 20% depending on your area. So it's an awesome time to start before everyone else comes in. Get ahead of the game. So we don't want to be a laggard. We don't want to be hanging back waiting for others to catch up, or we don't want to be the person catching up, if you know what I mean. We want to be out there getting a name for ourselves now and just taking the cream off the top. So we know what to say to agents. We know especially what not to say to agents. So there are cases when I have students and they say to me, hey, I've been out to see 12 agents and they all say no. I say, okay, that's alarm bells for me, because if you're seeing 12 agents and they're all saying no, you're either saying something wrong or you're just saying too much. So we make a few tweaks. I listen to them, do a role play. Okay, I'm an agent. Tell me what you say. And within like 10 seconds, whoa, stop. Okay, let's forget all the funky crap. Let's just tell them exactly what they want to hear to our benefit. So if it's going to benefit us, we tell them. Obviously, it's all factual. We tell them what we need them to know, and then they get it. It needs to be quid pro quo, two-way street. Give and take. So we know what paperwork to use, and we provide it as well. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different scenarios that you could use with paperwork. We know how to negotiate. Why? Because we've done this hundreds of times. And again, we tend to get the landlord or the agent to do all of their negotiation up front. And trust me, they do. They ask for everything up front. And then we can start to work backwards and we can chip away. Nibble, nibble back, nibble back. And it's all factual stuff, and it's all about the benefits, not so much the features. Because if you know about features and benefits, features will tell a story. They'll tell you all about it. And the benefits will actually sell the story. So we talk in benefits. Agents, we need to teach to talk in benefits to landlords as well, especially when we're trying to get them to convert their property to our service accommodation. And we know the planning criteria in most areas, including London. Why? Because again, we've sweated all the crap. We've made the silly phone calls, and we've had to do this. So we can share a lot of this with you. I wrote a manual for rent to rent, and we're now adding a lot of service accommodation to that. So if you're looking to find properties via rent to rent with service accommodation, then we actually also include the manual for you if you join us. And we've sold this in some occasions for 400, 500, 600 quid because people didn't want to come to the course. And then, hey, say la vie, 6 weeks later, can I come to the course? Yeah, sure. So in our group, we've got over 150 properties now. When I say our group, it's the students that I've taught, and the average is about 120K per month in profit. If this is something that you want to add to, then you can find out more at the end. And this equals for you tons of experience and tons of support as well. So we have a Facebook group, and it's got questions on there daily, and I'm on there contributing, and there's other advanced guys contributing all the time. So this is your first call of support, if you like, and experience. So numbers, let's have a look at the numbers. I want to show you what numbers I use to make sure that I get the most profit possible in the right area. I will never, ever go into a deal until I have this done. So we're looking at this is an exercise actually that I do in a course, but it will be much shorter, and it's slightly different. On the course, we probably spend about 45 minutes to an hour on getting your area right. Because if you don't, you go out the next day and you get a deal and it works out, you lose money. Who are you going to come back to? You're going to come back to me. And I don't want that. I want you to be able to go out and be successful, and I want you to make as much money as possible. And this is the calculator that we use. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that you can see those numbers quite large on there now. Just give me a thumbs up or a yes that you can actually see those. I made them much bigger this time because last time people said it was a bit small. So if anybody can put in the chat that they can see it. That'll be great. Okay, good. So a couple of you responded saying yes. If I can get a couple of yeses from everyone else. Now, bear with me because we don't have 45 minutes tonight just to run through this. I'm conscious of your time, but I will show you as much as I can on here. I can't run through it twice, so if you've got questions, you can ask me questions, but we'll answer them at the end. It may look a bit confusing on there, but once I run through it, then you'll understand it is really quite simple. So here we go. So if you've got a property, your property, my property, and you've done your due diligence, and let's say there's one that I know of, they're charging £207 per night, and that's for one person. For two people, they're charging 207, and then they're adding, I think they're adding £35 a night actually per person. For additional people, £35 a night. And we'll go right over here and we'll keep going until we get to 6 people. We don't tend to deal with more than 6 people. Occasionally we'll go up to 8 on the 3-bed properties. So in here we have, as you can see, the worst case scenario. And then we go over to here to the next column to your average case scenario. And then here to your best case scenario. Outside of the M25, we'll be looking at 50%. And it could be within areas of the M25 as well. We're looking at a 50% occupancy rate. Now, don't get hung up on occupancy rate because it's not, this is not what it's all about. We've included here your booking fee, any credit card fees. Now, it doesn't matter who you use, whether you use Stripe or WorldPay. We use WorldPay because it's so easy and they're very reliable. Some people use Stripe. A lot of people use Stripe because they've been told to use Stripe. Some people use PayPal, etc. So they will vary. You'll get slightly lower. 3% is on the high side, but we'll keep it there. So cleaning per stay could be 15 quid. Laundry could be 19 quid. Now, it's only because there will be certain minimums that your laundry company, if you use a rental company, that will have in place. If it's your stuff that you bought, you need to even that out across the property for the year. And then if you're going to be renting it, let's say the rent in this case, I think it's $17.50. So that's going to be your rent that you're going to be paying if you're doing rent to rent, or if it's not, it's going to be your mortgage amount. And then we look at the channel manager if you get advanced, and they're around about 70 quid a month for a channel manager. But you need to even this out, obviously, because it's not going to cost you that per month on each one. And then your maintenance could be 65. Again, that's on the high point. Maintenance could just be as simple as a little bit of paint here and there, which a cleaner goes in. We have a tin of paint in the lock cupboard. She comes out, or he comes out, because we do have some male guys as well. They just paint over where there may be a dirty hand mark or something like that. And so your monthly turnover, you're looking at your 207 at 50%. Now, if you look here, sorry, we're moving down here to your income is £286 per month at worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario is you take 30 days and it's only filled for 15 days, 50% occupancy, and somebody is staying once per night. So 15 different bookings. Now this makes a big difference to your laundry here. You can see here we start going down to, we go up to 60%. And it actually comes down to 360. We go up to 85% occupancy and it only goes up by about 120 quid. And I'll explain that. So you got your monthly bills, your utilities, your council tax. It could be business rates at 0. But again, it depends on the circumstances. Again, I can't cover that right now. And your broadband, you're going to need the fastest broadband you can get. One of the biggest things that you'll get done for is broadband. If it's not fast enough, if it's sluggish, or if it's not on, and that type of thing. And then here we have your one-off costs. So it will come over here to the right when we have a look at the one-off costs. So your furniture could be $2,400. It may be 0 if it's already furnished, which a lot of the apartment properties that we come across are. So it could be that you actually only spend about $250 because you need to just put in some different things. to make it look a bit better, like some small coffee tables and that type of thing, or just a notable chair that looks funky so they remember the property. Quilt covers, could be art for the lounge or bedrooms, etc. Could go up, could down slightly. And this is for, you know, this is a medium property. This is not luxury. And then deposits to the agent. If you're using your own property, that will be zero. Or if you're using something like a deposit replacement insurance policy, that could be zero. And then refresh, because it's brand new, it's got furniture, there's no refresh needed. Now, what we're looking at here on the calculator, we also give you a rent-to-rent calculator there too, but we won't go through that today. So the profit here, that magic number, is £51. Now, yes, it's only £51, but don't be alarmed, because this is not what we're going to work on. This column here, worst case scenario, means that if all things go wrong, as in worst case scenario, you can, if that's zero, you can still rent it out as a single let and make some money. And within your 2-month break clause, you can give it back, etc., if you need to. Then we look over here, we'll make this the same at 207, and we'll make this the same at, this one will be average of 3 people. So that will be the same here. So it will be 242. And then on this case here, it will be, this property will be full at 6 people, and that will be at 347. So then you can see at 60% here, or even if I made that 50%, the same occupancy rate, but in here, you change the formula here to a minimum of 2 nights. Sorry, let's just go, a minimum of 2 nights. So it actually decreases your laundry, and you can see that your profits come up to £692 a month. The minimum profit that I would want in any deal is £600 a month. If it were in London, I'd want to be looking at least £850, £900 a month in profit if I were going to take on a deal. And your best case scenario could be that, hey, yeah, I've got a property in Windsor, and it could be Windsor Races on because they've got a course there. It could be some big weekly coronation thing. Or it's not weekly, is it? Coronation. It could be some big royal party, or people coming to Windsor for Christmas or shopping or whatever, Christmas shopping. And that week or those 2 weeks of that, or that month, that December month, it could be absolutely packed. I mean, tons of people go. I used to live in Windsor. Tons of people used to go there, or still go there in the summer, because they just love hanging around in Windsor for whatever reason, maybe plane spotting. And you can see the difference, that's not going to happen every month, but that could be your peak month. So that month there will take care of, let's say, 3 months rent. So hopefully that explains a bit about what we do. But that number there, in your worst case scenario, should be 0 or above. I mean, if that was down to 51 quid and this one came up to, say, 800, I'd be happy with that. I'd go with that. So in most cases, we're looking for about 800-900 here, but the minimum would be £600 outside of the M25. And you can see here, we've even put on the side, if your target is £10,000 a month, your currently income would be 692, because we're working on the averages. So we want to work on not worst case scenarios, but the averages. And we also don't want you to get overexcited. If it's better than that, as in you have an enormous month, then hey, it's money in your pocket. We just want to make sure that you're never actually negative. So you can see here that your return on investment is less than a month, because these numbers here are quite low. So let's say that you spent 2.5 grand on your furniture. You can see here that it actually jumps up quite quickly to your return on investment. And we want that ordinarily to be under 4 months. So there's a couple of criterias here. There's the minimums, and then there's your return on investment, or your return on your capital input. And if you're going to be using a joint venture partner, they are not going to want that to be over 6 months, I can guarantee you. And you will not be able to sell a deal to anyone if that is 7, 8, 9 months. It's just going to kill you. And then here you can see that the income left that you need to generate is 9.3. It just helps you keep a gauge on, and you can take this out and set up your own spreadsheet, so you can start to accumulate your numbers and your income. So you can see your worst case scenario should be break even at 50%. Now in London, this could be 55 to 60, depending on the area. So if that were 60%, you can see that that would jump up quite quickly just by you moving that 10% criteria. Because in London, your rents are going to be much higher, but your income is also going to be much higher, and your occupancy rate is going to be higher. So as you can see there, I've upped the rent for say a 2-3 bed apartment, and again that's kind of line ball at £8. So we'd go for that type of thing, and then your room rates may be higher as well. So hopefully that's explained a little bit about numbers quickly. There are some different formulas in here that you change to make it, to work the numbers. You don't work the numbers in your favor, as in, I'm going to make this a deal. You need to work the numbers according to all of your research in your area. Okay. Right. Let's have a quick look here. So let's get back to, here we go. So this is one of our students. I just thought I'd put this on here because he's just gone on to Airbnb. This is one from Napa. Very proud of Napa, and we have a weekly webinar call on Monday mornings, and Napa's been working hard lately. He's been doing a good job. He's got I think he's got his 8th deal now. But Napa, when he started out, he started a year ago now, and he didn't have any money, and he actually said, look, I want to come and join you guys and learn about rent to rent. So I said, okay. So firstly, I kind of rejected, and I said, no, I don't think it's going to be right for you, because we don't just take anyone on. We want to make sure that obviously our reputation is upheld as well, and we want to make sure that you do the right thing. Because if you don't have the right desire to have the right why, we're going to have to be constantly pushing you, and that's a lot of work for us. So we need to know that you do have that desire, and you have that push and that drive within you to go out there and make money, because you're going to need to do it. It's the same, it's not about going to work, getting up each day, the alarm clock goes off, and I've got to go to work. If I don't go to work, I'm going to get the sack. With this, if you don't go to work, you're not going to get the sack. You're just going to waste your time and waste your money. Okay, so we want to make sure that you stay on track and you want to earn some money. So with this one here, this is Napa's first service accommodation, but he's got, I think, 2 others now in different areas. This one is in Canning Town, I believe, E16. And I know he just got another booking yesterday. Now, this one here should be generating about £1,700 a month in profit. I know in their first month when they set it up, that they got something like £550, £600 profit, which is great, because as their first month, they didn't get a whole month. So now they should be 1,700 and beyond for this month. So very happy for Napa. I was explaining to Napa on the call. I said, Napa, you started with nothing. Actually, you put yourself in debt to actually join a program. And I remember getting a phone call from Napa about 2 weeks after he started, and he said, he called me boss. He's a Congolese guy. He's awesome. He says, boss, I've lost my job. I went, okay, that's not good. Let's work something out. So we had a call. And then about a week later, boss, I've been kicked out of home. So he's made homeless. So he's living in his car. And that broke my heart, really. And I thought, how can I help Napa? So he ended up hanging out with his brother, and then he ended up getting 2 or 3 rent-to-rents really quickly, and got some agents on board. And then he started living in one of his properties. So he was taking one of the rooms. He had no money, so he was relying on joint venture partners. The first 3 or 4 joint venture partners said to him that it won't work in London. And we laugh now because we've got so many people successful in London. And I spoke to him Monday, and I asked him an update on his deals. And we worked it out that he's gone from 0 income a year ago, actually being in debt and being homeless, to now earning £66,000 a year in profit. And he actually said to me, he said, that's amazing. I hadn't even been really tracking it, because Napper's a bit like me. He's not a systems man. He's got his girlfriend Emma now, who kind of his rock, I guess, in systems. She looks after things like that. And he's the wheeler dealer. He wants to go out and get the deals and do the business. He's a creative guy. Let's go out there, get deals. Let's do this. But when I told him that he was now earning £66,000 a year, he was kind of taken back. And he said, I don't know anyone in my family that earns anywhere near that. So he's earning more money than any of his family members that he knows. And I said to him, are you also giving back? Like, are you helping out others now that you're making that sort of money? And he said, yes, I am. And he told me what he was doing, which is personal stuff. And so I'm quite proud of that. Proud of Napper to turning things around. And he's got another 3 deals that he's close to closing, which will take him to beyond £80,000 a year. Now, if you know anyone out there who earns £80,000 a year, go up to them. I challenge you to say to them, did you start your job a year ago, homeless and in debt, and you've gone in your job from earning nothing to, let's call it a volunteer, to earning over £80,000 a year? So yeah, well done, Napper. And he's just found a new strength within himself. And that strength is being able to give back to others. So if your why is, if the why is not about you, sometimes the why has to be about others, like helping others. So you just need to make sure that you've got everything in place that you need to be able to be successful. So let's go to the next one. This is what some properties can look like internally. And then this is dressed to a high standard. You can see the artwork. This is kind of what business people are looking for out there. This is when I talk about the 1-bedroom apartments. And you're going to need to provide like printers and color printers and that type of thing as well. So yeah. So let's move on. So can you make £10,000 a month? Well, yes, you can, and you can make a difference. You heard about Napper there. Your future can be protected, and so can your families. You can start creating the future that you want. You can start now, or you can start in a year. If you start in a year, it could be the equivalent of 66 grand a year that you're giving up, like Napper. We've got other people who are making much more money in shorter times. So what is your goal, and is it possible? So it could be that you just need an extra £1,000 a month. And I can tell you now that that is as simple as one deal. That's all it is, one deal. It could be £5,000 a month. And again, that could be 3 deals with service accommodation. It could be as simple as that. £10,000 a month. How about 10 grand a month? Most people come to me and say, hey, I got this round figure that's 10 grand a month. That's what I want to do. 10 grand a month, please. And you can do 10 grand a month. No problem at all. How do I know? Well, I'm doing it, and I've got other people doing it as well. You will need a plan if you want to make 10 grand a month. You will need goals, and you'll need a big, fat reason why. You'll need to stay motivated, and you'll need to take action. Sitting on your backside watching TV is not going to make you any money whatsoever unless you win something on the lotto. And you might need the odd kick or two every now and then to keep you motivated. So the advantages to you, if you decide to create cash flow from property, are unique to this strategy. And they include some of the following. Increase cash flow to whatever goal you have, grand, 5, 10, 20, whatever it is you have. You can make up to 100 grand a month if you want in serviced accommodation, whatever level you want to go to. But let's start off with some realistic stuff, okay? Like I said, most people want to replace that 3.5 grand a month to ring fence their bills. It will allow you time to build up cash for your own properties. It will actually also give you experience in running these properties. And if you're doing it via rent to rent, you minimize the risk because you haven't gone out and bought a property thinking it'll work for service accommodation, and then it falls flat on its face and you've got to use it as a single let. Why not use it as a single let, as a rent to rent? If it works really well, then propose to buy it once you've built up that money. A lot of people do that now within our course. You learn how to talk to agents, as I said, and what not to say. It's a fast track to leave your day job. I couldn't imagine having a day job now. I do have a day job. This is what I do. But I couldn't imagine being under the pressure and the stifle imprisonment, if you call it, of sitting in an office all day with somebody waiting for that special report, and you have to stay back until 6 and you got 2 hours on a train or driving. Freedom and stability in your life. Freedom could be, you know, walking out your door and running into the fields or whatever. I don't know. And, you know, it could be that. To me, that's what it is. I like it. You know, I'm surrounded by greenery and fields up here in Stamford. And it could be stability. It could be, you know, hey, I don't have to move. I don't have to keep renting. I can buy a house now. I have this income. I can buy a house. You know, I can stay here. I can start to decorate it, make it mine. Make it simple to grow your income quickly. Look at Napa, from 0 to 66 grand in 12 months. And he's got 3 more coming on to take him to 80 plus. You can increase your income on your buy-to-lets if you have buy-to-lets. You know, forget the £200 a month income. Go to 600, 700, 1,000, 1,500 a month. So how serious do you want to get? Big question. You should know how serious you want to get, because I'm guessing that because you're here tonight is you want to know how you can make some money. So you spent, I guess, the best part of an hour with me now, and you've got a load of content here that will help you. But an hour is not enough to learn like the ins and outs of everything that you need to learn, right? So we run a course teaching you the 7 steps that we went through, and we teach you this in detail. As I said, one of the steps takes about an hour, but that's the most important, and it could actually change your life. I know lots and lots of people. I'm trying to think how many are. I'm probably thinking at least 50 people within our group whose lives have changed dramatically. Some others, they've said, yeah, my income's changed, it's great, but my life hasn't really changed. But I know that there's at least 50 or more people whose lives have actually changed, turned upside down for the better. So what will you get from me? So we give you the manual. We give you the rent-to-rent manual as well. It's all included. You're going to need that if you want to start finding stuff via rent-to-rent, okay? It will help you manage your business as well. We give you a master class day, and we do exercises on the day. I'm not talking exercise like touch your toes and this type of thing. We want you to learn and see exactly what we do on a day-to-day basis. So that's why we put the course together. We've been running the course for a while now. But we put these exercises in, and, you know, it may be that you have to call agents on the day. You don't have to. I'm not going to rip you out of your comfort zone. But on the day, if you join us, you will see that some people will get a bit nervous when I say, okay, now we're going to make phone calls. And I'll actually make phone calls live in the session to agents. And some will get some good ones. Some will get some not so good ones. Some will get some awesome ones. And I'll call people in your area. I'm not afraid to do that. We're happy to do that. Happy to help. I want you to be able to make those calls in that classroom, because come Monday morning after the class, I want you to start straight away. That's your road. That's your new journey. That's your beginning of freedom, your beginning of stability, whatever you might want to call it. The change, it happens. Essential documents that you need for all of your service accommodation business. All the legal contracts you will need, and we've had a solicitor check these over. A JV partner, all partners. Many people meet the joint venture partners on the day. Napa did. Look at him now. We actually give you energetic training, and I guarantee this, that you won't nod off because you're doing exercises. We like to keep you engaged for the whole day. You can have a break at lunch, no problem. We'll even buy you lunch. We give you full follow-up support from me personally on the Facebook group. including both rent to rent and service accommodation. So you get the best of both worlds. Now, we were going to separate these groups, but everyone on the group said, no, please, let's keep it all together. So again, I took a vote. You guys are the students. You guys are there on the front line, and we want to make sure that you get the best for you. It's not just something that we want to try and invent. The money or excuses? That's the question, because you can't have both. You can earn disposable income, and imagine what this can do for you and your family. When I talk about disposable income, once you've got that $3.5 grand ring fenced, it's anything above that. Anything that you don't need to spend on bills. Holidays. Could it be Skegness? Could it be Spain? Or could it be the Maldives? It's up to you. Where do you want to go on holiday? Set those goals. Set those. Get the image board out. Up. Put them on your phone. Right, that's my holiday. That's where I'm going in 12 months. It could be you spend a month, 6 weeks touring America. I don't know. It could be a cruise. Whatever takes your fancy. So what's it all worth? Remember, at the start, I said to you that all of this, before any discounts or special offers, is £5,594. Now, I can tell you this. If I knew that Ashley Banfield on the other end of the line, if I knew him, then I could say, no problem. I've seen the proof. I've seen this. I've heard from the students. I would gladly pay £5.5 grand for a return of, in Napa's case, £66,000 income a year. Jimmy London is now on £140,000 a year, and he did that within 8 months. Pretty good. So I'd pay that, me personally, but you don't know me. So income now or no income later? We'll make a special offer. So you can have the manual for £497 plus that. We'll also include the full 1-day service accommodation mastermind course. We'll also give you all of the forms that you need. This is the systems and the cleaning forms and that type of thing, and all of the contracts. All of the legal documentation. I said there's about 4 or 5 different types of contracts that you can use. We've got them all done. They're all drawn up by solicitors. We'll also give you the full lifetime support on a private Facebook group. And it's something that people cannot join unless they've actually been on this course or the rent-to-rent course. So you get kind of double support, if you like. We get the calculator. Now, you've seen some of the calculator there. That's not all of it, because there's a lot of other research that goes into that. What I've showed you there is very much the basics. Scripts for agents and landlords. Now, this can be to letting agents, or it can be scripts to sales agents, whether you're going to buy or whether you're going to rent. Plus a whole lot more. We put all of this on a Dropbox. You get access to the Dropbox. Obviously not the 1-day mastermind course. You have to attend that in person. We put it on a Dropbox because we're constantly updating contracts and with any new legislation that may come out, and the manual as well. So it's kind of just always up to the latest version, if you like. So total price, £497 plus VAT. That's less than 10% of the original value. We'll also give you a 100% money back guarantee. So if you turn up on the day and you come and buy the morning break, you're thinking, this Ashley Banfield, I'm not sure about this strategy. I don't think I want to do it. No problem at all. You can walk away. We'll give you back every penny of your money. And we'll even let you keep all the documents. We'll let you have that access to the Dropbox. If you purchase today, you can also bring a friend for free. No charge for your business partner, spouse, friend, whoever you're going to be working with. It may even be that you have a part in changing their life too. Your return on investment is 1 month profit from your first deal. Special offer today. There's even more for you. So you're looking at now, because you can bring a friend, you're doubling the value. So instead of 5.5, you're getting a total value of 11,188. Me knowing me, I would still pay that for one person today, no problem at all. So how do you invest? You need to book the button on the right, and I will show you right now. There's a link on the page. The link is on the page if you're going to be watching the recording, but there will also be a box that you can click on too. So don't forget, you need to create more than you consume. So it's a total of £497 plus VAT. And I will now show you here. The special offer. You should see it on your screen now that says 2-for-1 offer. Stop wishing, start doing. And if you click below now, it says in orange and white, book your spot now. So if you go on and you book your spot, you will get the 2-for-1 deal. Now, when you go on there, please only book one person. Do not click and put on 2 because you will get charged twice. Book only 1 seat, but then email me the second person that you will be bringing along. Now we'll go through and we'll answer some questions. So hopefully you can all see that. Can everyone see that on screen? Hopefully you can. Okay, yes, good. Okay. Okay, so there's a couple of people who couldn't see the screen. Okay, so hopefully most of you could. There's only a couple of people that said they couldn't see it. On the replay, it may come up as well, so you can watch it again on the replay. So here, John, do you have to be VAT registered? Not until you hit 83 grand a year. And then, so you hit 80, I think it's 83 grand a year, maybe slightly more or slightly less. But basically, because you're offering a service, yes, you will need to be VAT registered. But then from there, you go on to the next level, which I can't remember what it's called, but it takes you to now, I think you have to earn annually around about 230 grand a year before you actually start paying the full 20%. So you will still collect 20%, but you will actually you will pay a lower rate to the government. So you won't actually be paying back 20%. So I can't remember what the level is called, but in most cases you won't be paying full rent, full VAT, until you get to that 230 turnover a year. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yes, you will have to, once you hit, I think 2016, 2017 is going from 82 to 83 grand. So yeah, you will have to. So hopefully that answers your question there, John. Okay, so your cleaner does the sheet cleaning as well? No, our cleaner changes the sheets, but they don't clean the sheets. We use a company that actually, we use a rental company that provides all of our linen. Okay, that's fine. Cool. Do you have issues with apartments, access portal service? Can you get around this? Okay, so yeah, there are some ways you can get around it. The they don't want you to put key boxes on their doors internally in a lot of cases. If you use like a porter service downstairs, you're going to have to pay them, because otherwise they're going to get jacked off. The other way that you can do it is you find a local shop owner that you get to know. You provide a key box for them, and they'll put it in somewhere on their wall, and you pay them a small fee each month, and they'll actually unlock and give you the key, etc., and that type of thing. So yeah, you need to get to know them well. Okay. So questions here. How do you check if the cleaner did the cleaning or not? They'll actually send a photo of the property once they've finished it, and it's always date stamped. If they don't clean it, they lose their job as well. You need to get to know your cleaner very well, and also your backup, don't forget. Okay. Could I have all of this without attending the course, as I don't have time? Yes, you can. You can purchase the course, and I will give you access to all of the information, and you don't have to turn up. I suggest that you do turn up when you have the time. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Thank you for those who've already committed and taken action to come onto the course. I can hear it binging. Okay, can you charge VAT on service account? Yes, you do charge VAT. Yeah. If you're paying VAT, you charge VAT. Okay, will it work in my area? Let me know where your area is. Yes, Gordon, thank you. It's the flat rate scheme. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Maybe you've been able to Google it. So your flat rate scheme takes you from 83 grand, I think, to used to be 150, but you can actually get a turnover of 230 grand a year. Gordon, if you're looking, I'm not sure if it's 7% or something like that. You pay a lower fee, and you still charge 20%, but you actually pay a smaller fee to the government, but you still collect 20%. So you kind of profit, I guess, from it a little bit. It's all perfectly legal. It's how the government set it up, and that's in any business that you want to run, not just this. So great, thanks, Gordon. That's great. Okay, how many essays do I need to make 10 grand a year? Okay, so that's a very, very, how long's a piece of string? On average, if you are getting, again, it depends on the area. So in my area that I'm now focusing on, so the area that I was focusing on, I was struggling to get $650 a month. So that is going to take you a long time to get to 10 grand. In my new area, I can get between £1,300 and £1,700 a month from one property, and a smaller property too. So if that was the case, and I can pick up probably one every 3 to 4 weeks, so you'd probably have it within 6 to 7 months if you were, working on it and, keeping calm and doing what you needed to do. But that's why I decided to change the area from where I was, and only chose that area because it was close to me. But again, with service accommodation, you don't need to be close to it. You can have someone working in the area. Okay. I hope that answers that. When will the next course date be? There's one this Saturday. If you click on the link, you'll be able to see that, the actual offer. Should be on the right of your screen, I think. I'm not sure on your screen. Okay. It will be in Peterborough at the Marriott Hotel. And you can bring a friend. We start at 9 o'clock and we finish at 6. We have a morning break for about 15 minutes. We have an afternoon break for the same. We have lunch for about 45 minutes. It is a full-on course. you will learn a lot, and the methods that we use, you will retain more than you do from most other courses. So Manuel Ezekiel, who's my business partner, we've gone through this course and a rent-to-rent course many times to perfect it. And he's a master in NLP. He's been trained personally by people like T. Harv Eker, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, to name a few. He spent an absolute fortune on training. So how do you negotiate with estate agents on what type of services you provide so that they don't think of you as a subletter? Okay, so please don't tell an agent that you're not going to be subletting, because we are going to be subletting. What you need to do is, it all comes down to the paperwork to make sure that you're not subletting, if you like. So subletting, if you like, is not illegal, but it will lose you a deal. And if you sign an AST for a deal, an assured short hold tenancy agreement, it will have all over it that you cannot sublet. And it's actually governed by the Housing Act. The preferred solution that we have when dealing with agents is a common law agreement. And a common law agreement can be what is most commonly known as a company let agreement. But in some cases, they will also have no subletting in there, but it's always to the discretion of the actual landlord. So we want to make sure that there is no discretion, that we do have absolute permission to be able to sublet. So we either have that removed, or in some cases they can't change their contracts. So we'll have an addendum, an addition added to say that we can, that basically supersedes what's written in the contract. You can also use a commercial lease, but just be careful you don't have full repairs in there. We have a commercial lease that we've had written up, and again, the solicitor's checked it, and he is a commercial property lawyer. Thank you, Nino. And if they don't have a mortgage on it, you can use a commercial lease agreement. So they're kind of and then there's the management agreement. So if we're going direct with a landlord, we will actually use a management agreement that we've again had written up for ourselves. And all of these we do provide for you. So Alfred, don't be afraid of the word subletting. All agents know that we're going to be doing it. So you have to be upfront and you have to be completely honest. If you're not, it will basically bite you in the bottom. Okay, so and we have another question here. I can't really see it that well, but it says, I will see 5 properties in northwest London. Shall I take them if they're okay? Again, I can't see all of the question there actually, so forgive me if there's another bit above it. Let me see if I can see the rest of it. Okay, I can't see the rest of it. So yes, if they're okay and you know how to go through the actual full research of deciding whether a property is correct or not, then yes, take them. But if this is a webinar you've been on for the first time, please don't take them. Learn first. Yeah, that's all I can say there without actually seeing the properties. Okay, any other questions, guys? We're getting towards 5 to 9 now. I'm happy to go on if you are. It's up to you. I'm happy to keep answering questions here. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. Again, somebody may say I've given away too much, but I don't think so. I think it's important. Now, I'm just going to pop the poll in. If you can just quickly answer that, that'd be great. What time of day is best for you for a webinar? PM on a weekday like today. It could be Sunday PM. It could be a weekday lunchtime. It could be 1 PM. It could be 12 noon, whatever time you have lunch. Obviously, in this case, we've gone to an hour and a half, so that may not be suitable unless we keep it on that. It could be a midday, mid-morning, or if you prefer to watch replays anytime. So like I said at the start, we have the option to be able to provide to you. So you'll get a replay of this sent to you in the morning. You'll be able to watch that any time of the day. Okay, we're getting quite a lot of people here are preferring to watch replays. Okay, because you like to have your time at night so you can watch it whenever you want. So we will actually, this will automatically be uploaded to YouTube. So it'll be quite easy to watch. And you can still book the course from there if you're not sure about this tonight. Maybe you might watch it in the morning. I think it will come to you after about 10 a.m. So you can watch it again then. But again, we can do what we call evergreen webinars. So you can choose to watch a webinar 3 different times of the day, morning, noon, and night. So thank you for those who have actually answered that. So for those who, I can't do this Saturday because I'm doing another course. The next one is going to be in November. I'm not sure of the exact date yet, but if you just send me a private email, I can get that to you. We won't be doing any in December. I'm going to have December off. Back in January. Okay. Okay, that's good. So Anne, yes, so Anne, I will see 5 properties in Northwest London. Shall I take them if they are all okay? Please, Anne, do not take any of these properties until you've got the, thank you, Kurush, for booking. Please, I ask you, just don't get yourself in a shit by taking these properties until you've actually gone through some education on this, okay? That's the only thing that I would ask you. Okay, this is amazing. So the poll, we got 33% on PM weekdays, 67% prefer to watch replays. Okay, so what we will do in that case is we can run the webinars like this on a PM weekday, and we can give you the option on Evergreen to watch it whenever you want. So you'll get the best of both worlds. So we can do that for you, no problem at all. Excellent. So it's interesting to know that nobody wants it on a Sunday, a lunchtime, or mid-morning. Excellent. Lots of people who want to give up their day jobs, I suspect. Okay, guys, I'll give it 1 more minute until 9 o'clock to take any other questions. You've been a great group. I apologize for those who couldn't see the screen so clearly. But I can guarantee you this, if you come on the course, you will see it in full view. Okay. Okay, we've got 1 more minute. All right, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again for spending an hour and a half of your time with me. It's much appreciated. Trust me, I know that time is probably one of the most valuable things that I have. And I suspect you do too. So I really do appreciate you giving up an hour and a half of your time to spend with me this evening. And thank you again for those who have booked. I really appreciate it. And thank you for trusting me with your education and for getting your cash flow up and running. Thank you again. Another booking. Thank you. Okay, guys. You can obviously still send me questions, but I'm going to end the call now and say thank you and have a wonderful what's left of your weekend and what's left of your week. And for those coming on Saturday, I'll see you Saturday. And thanks again. Take care, guys.